Hey guys, it's Yaji again, and your neighborhood love therapy guru. And today I am going to be talking about what is love. So in my over 10 years of experience in working with couples, this often comes up, this question: what is love? How do I know if I'm in love? What is unconditional love? What does it mean? What will I feel? How will I know? So that's what I'm going to go dive a little deeper into in this video today. A little bit about me. I am licensed as a psychotherapist in the state of California, a marriage and family therapist. I've been working with couples for a really long time. My passion is the human psyche and growth, and how to grow, overcome, and to be the best you that you can possibly be. For me to be the best me that I can possibly be, it's all about growth, healing, happiness, overcoming, striving, moving, and I've made my life about learning how to do that, how to create that, and I'm going to bring that to you in these videos. So back to this question: what is love? And there are a lot of kind of offshoot questions around what love is, what it means, how do you know if you're in love, how do you know if you're not in love, how do you know if it's the one. There are a lot of different questions that can come with that one basic question. I'm going to start with talking about the different shades, the 50 shades of love, right? So, there are a lot of different variations of love, and unfortunately we only have one word in our society to describe what has many different varying feelings and experiences. So the Greeks really, I think they were onto something. They had, I think, at least 7 words to differentiate between the different shades of love. The number one word is Eros, and that's kind of, I think, what most of us associate with love: erotic love, passionate love, that love that makes you crazy, that love that makes you long to be with one another, that makes you feel alive, but also can have some really detrimental crashing down effects. That erotic love that you feel when you first meet somebody and you're like, who is this person? I want to know more about them. So that's, I think, what we commonly mistake for the only form of love. And there are many other shades of love, especially throughout the term of a longer term relationship. So as you move through a relationship, usually it will start out with Eros, the erotic, passionate love. But in a relationship where there's trust and friendship builds, trust builds, confidence builds, and then it turns into Philia. So Philia is a friendship kind of love where you have confidence in trust and you can depend on one another. And that takes strength. Plato talks about, the best kind of love is Philio, that it develops from Eros. So you have this passion, and then it turns into this friendship, but then moves back to the passion and back to the friendship and so forth. And that is what we all aspire towards. It's something that's good to think of in terms of, what you want for yourself in your relationships. And then from that, in the long course of a relationship, you can move into Storge. Storge is now family love, or love that a child has for a parent. You can kind of think of it as unconditional love, where the love isn't really dependent on the actions or the feelings, but it just is. A lot of people will make the mistake of wanting Storge love with someone that they meet in an Eros kind of way, in an erotic way. I'm having a little piece of hair out of place there. But so, wanting the Storge type of love when you first meet someone, and that's really, it's unrealistic. Especially if you're not having the last form of love, and I'm skipping over a couple, that in my view is actually the most important form of love, and really none of these other forms of love can exist in a healthy way without Philautia, which is self-love. And that's really, my goal as a love therapy guru, as a love therapist. My focus is on relationships and helping people to find great relationships, helping people to create great relationships. It really it starts with the relationship right here, with you to you. So that's where it's really, really important to focus and figure out what's going on, how much are you in a place of self-acceptance and self-love, self-alignment, because you really need to know yourself in order to be present in a healthy way in a relationship. What happens when you don't know yourself and you're not able to be present is oftentimes, I just went through the 7 steps of good communication. A lot of that is from this as an orientation, is really needing to be self-aligned. Because when you're not self-aligned, first place that it can go wrong is you don't even really know when your boundaries have been crossed. You don't even know when something has happened that doesn't feel good to you. But what happens is it gets stored in there, it gets held on an unconscious level and it doesn't go away. And then it winds up coming out in terms of resentments, and it gets projected onto other things that maybe don't seem related. So if you find yourself getting mad about small things, and you can go in your head like, what am I getting so upset about this for? That's not a big deal. Most likely, if that's happening for you, that's because either number 1, you're not aware of what you're feeling, or number 2, you're aware but you don't know how to go about communicating it. A lot of people will try to go about communicating, and then in our very flawed way that we're taught to communicate in the negative, wind up finding really negative experience. Because if we start to tell one another what is happening that they're doing that's making us feel bad, we're pointing fingers at them, then they're going to become defensive, and it's going to be a destructive communication. So rule of thumb is this, ask yourself, is this communication going to be destructive or constructive? You want to always make sure that you're going into whatever communication you're about to have with a constructive goal, a constructive aim in mind. We want to our egos want to tell the other person how bad they made us feel. That is not going to be constructive. That's going to make them feel bad, upset, defensive, and or stonewall and run away. So that also can come out as criticism. It can also come out as being controlling. So the best way to avoid feeling like you're criticizing or controlling or any of those things that can really derail a relationship is to know yourself first, to understand yourself, to identify what you're feeling, to accept what you're feeling. So that's another place where people get really, really thrown off, is you can have a feeling but you deem it to be unworthy or needy or too emotional, or for some reason, there are many reasons that we get that our emotions are not acceptable. For one reason or another, it's not okay to feel that feeling. So you may feel it, you may be aware of it, but then you just sweep it under the rug and that's it. But again, it doesn't go away. When you do that, it stays inside, mostly unconsciously, and it warps and it gets ugly, and then it comes out in other ways that are super destructive to a relationship. So you really want to keep that in mind, be proactive, go back and listen to those 7 steps, because that is so important. Really, that is the foundation of all of the couples therapy I do. It's the 7 steps combined with EMDR therapy or mental and emotional release, Matt James Empowerment Partnership, And that really can help you to overcome some of those unconscious limiting beliefs that may be getting in the way most of the time, that we're implanted or programmed when you were a child. So, there are ways that you can let go of that and naturally come to a different frame of perspective. And that's really the most important thing. The frame of perspective is one that I'm okay. In all of these processes, what it leads to is these limiting beliefs that we hold that say that we're not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not blah, 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 and on and on and on. And it is so damaging. And we have those thoughts on a constant basis, especially when you've had any kind of trauma in your childhood. That stuff just becomes automatic and unconscious, and just flavors the whole perspective of everything. So really, love. What is love? It starts with self-love, Philautia. So get into a place of really, really fearlessly looking at yourself, understanding yourself, accepting yourself. Yes, there may be things that you look at in yourself that you're not happy about, that you want to grow. Growth is always important. It's okay to notice something that, I'm not really happy about that. But it is important to recognize it, to acknowledge it. Acknowledgement is half of the release. In fact, there was a study done. I think they hooked people up to brain resonance imaging, and they were able to identify hotspot regions in the brain that lit up when a person was having a certain emotion. And just the very fact of naming the emotion, especially the depleting emotions, anger, jealousy, rage, blah, 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 just the very fact of naming it helped to alleviate and release the emotion, and they were able to see that on the brain resonance imaging. So that's why it's so important to really recognize and acknowledge. That's the first step towards releasing, and then start looking at what you want to believe instead. A lot easier said than done. These are some really deep concepts, but I wanted to put that out for you guys. And if you have any questions, I am so open and I welcome questions. Of course, that's going to help to get these messages out more. So question, comment, like, share. If you found this information at all helpful or interesting, please pass it on. Visit the YouTube channel, subscribe, and that's it for now. So this is Yaji, your love therapy guru, signing off. Love you guys, and I really hope for you guys to find love in yourself, for yourselves, and have that every day. Take care. Love ya.